trade.
Manny with a line drive, base hit left field. 10-3. Ramirez does come through with his 36th run batted in, and he has 2 hits.
But that was the hustle of Robbie Alomar to get that run. Manny hits it off the end of the bat. This ball, I think, out of the strike zone, down. It is a breaking ball, and he just serves it into left field. That allows Alomar to score. Makes this a 10-3 ball game.
The Indians have trailed 1-0, 4-0, 4-1, 9-1, 9-2, 10-2, and now 10-3.
Well, they've got the picket fences up there, all ones. They need to mix in a few crooked numbers.
That's exactly right. As the Devil Rays did with 3 in the 3rd and 5 in the 4th. Travis slide out to deep center and also to right field. Updated average, as you saw, up to the minute is 280. The Indian starter tonight was Doc Gooden, but he did not survive the 4th inning. He gave up 7 runs, 4 earned. Strike 2. And Travis did not have much success last year against Devil Ray pitching. He had under 200 and a career less than 200 hitter against Bobby Witt, and 0 for 2 tonight. On 3 pitches, he's out number 1. Sherwin-Williams scoreboard time. We'll check out the American League first. We've got a bunch of them. It's a Boston 4-0 lead in the 7th. 13 strikeouts now for Martinez. Toronto leads Texas 6-3. The game is in the 6th inning. Baltimore leading Detroit 9-3 now in the 7th. 3-0 New York leading Seattle thanks to a home run by Derek Jeter. And Chicago 6-0 over Oakland. Kansas City 3-1 in Minnesota. That game's in the 4th. We'll check out the National League as soon as we get a chance. Cordero the batter. Will is struck out and grounded out. By the way, the Red Sox also, remember Brett Saberhagen left the game the other day with some shoulder problems, and he has been put on the disabled list by Boston with a shoulder strain. It's 1-1.
You can see that good slider that Bobby Witt has. He's been able to get the right-handers to chase it. Alomar
tripled to start the inning. Manny Ramirez singled him home. Fryman struck out. And Cordero is down in the count, 1-2. Got a piece of that one for strike 2. One out. The Indians are still down by 7 runs. Line drive, base hit left field. On a 1-2 pitch, Cordero delivers a single to keep the inning alive and move Ramirez into scoring position. Hit number 8 for the Indians.
That ball came back out over the plate. I don't know if it might have been a changeup. It was either the fastball or the changeup. Tough to tell, but it came back to the middle of the plate, and Cordero makes him pay. And still now, if they can get a couple more in here, David Justice, who homered his last time up.
Rick Williams, the pitching coach, is going to go have a word. There is activity in the bullpen for the Devil Rays as the pitching coach goes to the mound. Let's do the National League, Rick, while you have a chance.
All righty, we will check out the National League side. You'll see the Cubbies beating Cincinnati 2-1 in the 8th. Montreal, Houston tied in the 5th at 2. St. Louis shutting out Pittsburgh 1-0 in the 4th. Philadelphia no score. That game just starting out in Colorado. And the Mets are in Arizona. That'll be a 10 o'clock start, the same as Atlanta and San Diego. Florida is in L.A. and Milwaukee in San Francisco. So the National League, you're out west. American League, you Western teams, you come east.
And the bullpen working. That's Rick White loosening up. David Justice takes ball one. Justice took Bobby Witt deep his last time up. David officially 1 for 1. The walk, the solo homer, lifting his average to 222. The Indians tonight 1 for 4 with runners in scoring position. Count evens out. Tampa Bay is 6 for 17. And the Indians trying to creep a little closer here in the bottom of the 6th inning. They've gotten some base runners. Now you've got to try to take advantage of the opportunity when you have a chance to pick up a run here and there.
Well, out of their 8 hits, they do have 3 extra base hits. A double by Enrique Wilson, the triple that led this inning off by Robbie Alomar, and the David Justice home run. Justice hits this ball deep to left center field. Sorrento back at the wall. The ball is gone. David Justice, second home run of the night, and the Indians are climbing back in it. It's a 10-6 game. Well, I'll tell you, David getting that stroke back. It's been coming slowly but surely. That home run he hit the last time, he pulled the baseball. This time, Bobby Witt stays away from him, and then he goes the other way, and he hit a bomb to left center field. He realized it. Fastball away, and look at David stay on the ball. Boy, a 3-run homer that brings the Indians back to within 4, makes it a 10-6 ball game for David Justice. 2 home runs and 4 ribbies tonight. So the bomb for the Indians, and it brings a little life to the crowd. For David Justice, his 16th 2-home run game. One to deep right and this one to deep left. The home plate umpire started and walked to the mound to break up the conversation between Flaherty and Witt. Witt has now given up 9 hits and 6 runs. Yeah, he's just stalling for time until Larry Rothschild can come out of the dugout, letting White in the bullpen get a few extra pitches. So the pitching change will come with the bases empty. 4 runs in for the Indians. Sandy Alomar coming up when we come back on Fox Sports Net, Ohio.
Well, some days, I'm not a foreman, I'm a circus juggler. I got product coming off the line, warehouses filling up. I got deliveries, I got to move off the dock. Sometimes things get a little crazy. I need an extra fork, maybe a lift will go down. I call Nations Rent. Whatever I need, whenever I need it, they bring it out. Newer stuff, names I know. Nothing over a few years old. So it works. And it's one less ball I got to keep in the air. They make it happen for me.
Nations Rent. 1-800-NO-SWEAT.
The Indians are climbing back in the ball game here thanks to the bat of David Justice. In the 4th inning, it was Justice pulling the ball. A no-doubter into the seats in deep right field. 2 on in the 6th inning, the other way. And with that, Bobby Witt is finished for the night as Ohio native Rick White comes out of the bullpen. Rick White having a very good year out of the bullpen this year for Larry Rothschild, appearing for the 16th time, a 3-0 record and a 233 earned run average. Picked up his 3rd win on Wednesday in Kansas City. He is tied for 2nd in the AL with 3 relief appearance wins, and 7 out of his 9 appearances this year have been scoreless. He has only allowed 4 walks. So this is a guy that has done a nice job for him, and that's what Larry Rothschild is looking for now in the bottom of the 6th. He wants to try and stop the bleeding on now. The Indians are starting to apply the pressure and a little heat back on the Tampa Bay ball club. Witt goes 5 1/3, 9 hits, 6 runs all earned. He cannot be the losing pitcher. He could be the winning pitcher, obviously, since he's been staked to the huge lead, but part of it taken away in this 4-run 6th inning. 1 out, Alomar 0 for 2 comes up. Rick White was drafted out of junior college by the Pirates. Primarily used by them out of the bullpen as well. Sandy pops up the first pitch. McGriff for the 2nd out. That'll bring up Richie Sexson.
The first baseman, number 44, Richie Sexson.
30 years old. Spent all of 1994 and part of 95 with the Pirates before he signed as a free agent with the Devil Rays in January. Richie Sexton is 0 for 2. He takes the call, strike one. So White coming out of the bullpen and throwing strikes, which is what you're supposed to do. I mentioned White, an Ohio native. He grew up and still lives in Springfield, Ohio. 1-1 on Sexton. The Indians trying to battle back. They've trailed by 8 runs a couple of times tonight. Sexton fouls that one away, and it's 1-2.
Well, there's a pitch where Richie's going to shake his head at because he had a nice fastball to hit and fouled it back. And that goes to show you, when you're going good and you're seeing the baseball, you hit this ball hard and make the pitcher pay. Here's a pitch that I don't know how many times a year a hitter will say, man, I should have killed that ball, and just fouls it straight back. That's the difference between going good and going bad.
2-2. Richie not going that well right now. His average has slipped to 222. Playing first base tonight again for Jim Thome, who will return tomorrow. Is Kell out of the lineup again tonight?
That suspension will be said and done as far as he's concerned. Jarrett Wright is another story.
A little bit low. Full count. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, bases empty. The Indians have jumped back in this contest by scoring 4 runs here in the 6th. White in relief of Bobby Witt. 3-2 pitch. Fouled back.
I remember when this kid signed with Pittsburgh, they had really high hopes for this young man. He threw the ball very hard, had some arm problems. And
they really, at one point, tried to make him a closer over there with the Pirates. Draws the walk on a 3-2 pitch. Keeps the inning alive for Kenny Lofton. Sure, Larry Rothschild remember the dramatic comeback the Indians made against his ball club here last year when Sandy Alomar won it with a grand slam home run. It was a 10-8 ball game. Keeping Sexton close at first. Many of these Indians are facing White for the first time tonight. Lofton tried to hold up, did. 1-0. Charles Nagy gets the call tomorrow afternoon here at Jacobs Field against Esteban Yan. He'll move into the rotation. Jarrett Wright and Wilson Alvarez will match up on Sunday in the finale of this series. First meeting of the year between the Indians and the Devil Rays, and White falls behind Lofton. Enrique Wilson to follow if the Indians can keep this inning going. Kenny has singled, walked, and flied out to deep left. Chased Paul Sorrento for the warning track his last time up. Singled to left in the first inning, walked and scored a run. Back in the 3rd. Bouncer towards second base. Nice high hop, flip to second. The inning is over, but the Indians get 4 and still trail by 4.
Due to time constraints, we now move ahead in the program.
Comfortable home tonight for the Indians as they trail it going to the bottom of the 7th inning. 7th inning stretch time. The Indians will send up Enrique Wilson, Roberto Alomar, and Manny Ramirez. Tampa Bay has had 19 men in scoring position tonight. They put 11 on the board. White, in relief of Witt, came on in the 6th inning. He got Alomar, Sandy Alomar. He walked Sexton and then got Lofton to ground into a forced play. What was that, 4-6? Or was it 6-4? For Lofton forcing Sexton. 4-6. 4-6. Thank you. I forgot to write that down. Wilson takes one ball. He has a double in 3 trips tonight. He's grounded into a double play. Double to push Lofton to third, where he scored the first Indians run. And Enrique bangs a single to right. Hit number 10 for the Indians. He hits in every inning but the 5th, the only inning they have been retired in order.
Well, this ball down in where Enrique likes it. Down, he drops the bat head and finds the hole between first and second. Gets his 2nd hit of the evening, and a start for the 7th.
And he is surprising some people with the way he's swinging from the left side.
He's hitting much better from the left side this year than the right.
That's what I'm saying. And that has not been his norm. He has 2 hits in the ball game tonight. So does Roberto Alomar, who tripled and scored run number 1 in that 4-run 6th inning for the Indians. There's a lot more work to be done. Ball 1 to Robbie. Turns away from ball 2. 2-0. The Indians still working to get back in the ball game. The Indians keep their bullpen busy. I would have to think that Paul Wagner's done, wouldn't you?
Oh, yeah. I would think so.
There's a strike. The only lefty in the bullpen for the Devil Rays, Scott Aldred, is warming up. There he is.
They get a right-handers that's up there and getting loose as well.
Jim Machir is warming up. So the righty is Messier and the lefty is Aldred. Smile, Tim.
Yeah, he did. I was going to say, and the cameraman, Tim McCarty, he's sitting right up on top.
2-2 pitch, fouled straight back. We will be ready for the next foul ball in our vicinity. Where'd we see that net make a play? Texas?
Texas, that is correct.
Fan had a big net. 2-2, leadoff man aboard for the Indians. We're in the bottom of the 7th inning. Alomar swings and misses. Might have helped him out a little bit there.
Yeah.
Let's answer the Wendy's trivia question for tonight. The only player to lead both the American and the National League in hits. I don't think our crack staff is ready for this one.
No, I didn't even think about it, to be honest with you.
Let's find out then. Lance Johnson with the White Sox and with the Mets. We might have been searching our memory bank back a little too far, maybe.
No, truthfully, I didn't even think about it. But Lance Johnson, that's right. Good one.
Ramirez is 2 for 3 tonight with an RBI. Is 36th on the season. He singled after Roberto Alomar tripled. White getting his first strikeout. And gets ahead of Manning. No balls, 1 strike. 2 errors charged to Ramirez tonight.
So actually it should be 1.
Should be, yeah. But the one where he dropped the ball was very costly because it led to 4 unearned runs. And right now with 5 unearned runs for Tampa Bay, that's pretty much the story of this night, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Inside to Manning. That one up there in the low 90s. One out and 1 on. Travis Fryman, who's 0 for 3 to follow. The Indians looking for base runners. They did score 4 times in the 6th inning. man aboard here, and Ramirez with a little slow bouncer. Played by the third baseman Perry. It did not get him. Perry thought he did, and White was shocked that he missed the ball. It's going to go as an infield hit and keep the inning alive.
I'll tell you, I think McGriff thought he had him as well. Once that White missed that ball, Perry had to come in. Manny did not get a good jump out of the box. Watch his swing as he's trying to get out of the box. Sort of like wanted to check his swing. It jammed him. He gets out. He tried to barehand it, but then Herbert comes up with it, makes a throw across. Bang, bang. Boy, awfully close. Could have went either way.
Yep. The Indians might have caught a break there.
Yes, they did. See if they can take advantage of it. That's a tough call.
Well, it's Travis Fryman. And now a chance for the Indians to pick up a run here in the 7th inning. Travis struck out on 3 pitches his last time up, facing Bobby Witt then. Witt then followed by giving up a base hit to Cordero, and Justice followed with a 3-run homer, and that was the end of his night.
Well, they could use another 3-run homer right here.
Travis hit a 3-runner and a 2-runner on Wednesday night in the Indians' loss to the Mariners. In for strike 1. 1 ball, 1 strike. He accounted for all of the Indians' runs in that ball game. Two on with 1 out. Upstairs, ball 2. The Indians are 2 for 5 tonight with runners in scoring position. Tampa Bay is 7 for 19. Doubles and a homer for the Devil Rays. The Indians have a double, a triple, and 2 home runs. There's a drive deep left field. Back is Sorrento. The ball is gone. A 3-run home run for Fryman. The Indians are back in the ball game. Wow. Well, Rick Manning, you called it. You got it.
Well, I didn't actually call it, but I said they could use it. And Travis does exactly what the Indians needed. Had the count in his favor. White comes in with a fastball, and Travis quick enough to deposit that into the home run porch in left field. The 3rd home run for the Indians tonight. David Justice with the other 2. And this one gets up and just gets over the railing in left field to make this an 11-9 ball game and make these last couple innings very interesting. For Travis, that's home run number 6 and gives him RBIs 20, 21, and 22.
And that's his 3rd in the last 3 games.
This crowd starting to feel it. Getting on their feet. They realize now they're starting to put some crooked numbers on. 4 last inning, 3 right now. There's still just 1 out left in the bottom half of the 7th inning.
It's a 2-run game now. Cordero, a single, a run scored his last time up. Will is 1 for 3. The Indians have a dozen hits. Cordero takes strike 1. 1 ball, 1 strike. So the Indians now 3 for 6 with runners in scoring position. Fryman had a 3-run homer and a 2-run homer on Wednesday. There's a drive into left center field. Back is McCracken at the wall. It's gone. Home run. It's a 1-run ball game. The Indians back-to-back dingers. Unbelievable.
Boy, it really is. Said they could do it in a hurry. And Cordero gets his 3rd home run of the year. Right down Broadway. Left center field. Home run number 4 for the Indians and brings them within 1.
And it finishes the night for White, who gives up the 4 runs here, including the 2 home runs. Look at those numbers. We'll have a new pitcher for the Devil Rays when we come back to Jacobs Field on Fox Sports Net Ohio.
And now with an I Want to Know update, here's Kristen Riggs.
John, last week we broke the story of the missing cheddar. We found it at Wendy's. In a revealing conversation with founder Dave Thomas, he admitted needing it for Wendy's Cheddar Lovers Bacon Cheeseburger.
It's got a lot of cheddar.
Always a salesman, Dave made us one with bacon, sautéed onions, and yes, lots of cheddar cheese sauce. Now that we've solved the mystery, there's nothing left to do but enjoy.
Come try Wendy's new Cheddar Lovers Bacon Cheeseburger.
Just say cheese.
Back to you, John. I'll do the joke.
There are the two, the bookends around Roberto Alomar. Fryman with a 3-run homer, Will Cordero with a solo home run. The Indians go back-to-back for the second time this season. Back on the 21st of April, it was Roberto Alomar and Manny Ramirez going back-to-back. And White had given up 1 home run this season. He gives up 2 in the inning, 4 runs allowed, and the Indians are down by just 1. What an amazing turnaround for the Indians tonight, who had one time trailed 9-1. They were also down 10-2, but they have battled back.
Yeah, the 8 runs in the last couple innings certainly helps. So that'll bring on the only left-hander in Larry Rothschild's bullpen, Scott Aldred, appearing for the 15th time, 2-0, and does not have an ERA. He's only given up 1 hit, 7 2/3 innings, and his job is to come on and get the lefties. And he's done a terrific job this year. Lefties just 1 for 17 off him without walking a batter.
Well, the fans like this lefty tonight because David Justice has hit a pair of home runs, a solo shot in the 4th, a 3-run homer, and a 4-run 6th inning. The Indians have gone deep 4 times tonight. They've scored 8 runs in the last 2 innings, and he hits Justice.
Well, that'll put the tying run aboard. And that's going to bring out the manager. He was on to get that 1 out, the left-hander.
Didn't do it. So with Alomar and Sexton coming up, they'll go back the other way.
Well, what happened? He just tried to get out of the way. It looked like it clipped him right on the elbow.
He wears that big pad on that elbow.
Does have that pad, but you see it deflected straight down.
And Paul Spicuzza is already out there, the Indians trainer.
That could be like a stinger, but you're right. That's a good thing he had that pad on. That's where he's looking, right at that elbow. Boy, that's one thing you don't need. He's just starting to heat up, where you may miss him again.
Let's take a break while the right-hander takes over for Tampa Bay.
Hey, what if I wanted to paint the sky? Where do I find the blues? Or the reds, or golds, or silver grays, or some other sky-like hues? And hey, Van Gogh is yellow, how you brighten up your day? I need to travel to the stars, can you paint out the way? Say hello, where to go, whatever you want to know. Ask how, ask now, ask Sherwin-Williams.
Tying run is on for the Indians in the bottom of the 7th, and a wild one tonight at Jacobs Field. 26 hits, 5 home runs, 3 errors, 21 runs. Messier comes on to replace Aldred.
There you see his numbers facing Sandy Alomar.
Ball 1 to Sandy. Messier came up with Seattle, who drafted him originally, and then spent some time with the Yankees in '96 and '97 before going to the Devil Rays in the expansion draft. 1 ball, no strikes. Alomar hitless in 3 trips tonight. He hits it hard to left field. Sorrento's over. That ball is going to be off the wall. Justice goes to 3rd. Alomar to 2nd. The Indians have the tying run at 3rd. Go-ahead run at 2nd.
And, well, for not being a left fielder, Sorrento, I was hoping maybe that ball could kick away from him, and that would allow Justice to score, but he plays the wall very well on this ball. You see him stop, gets a nice 1 hop, and hits his cutoff man. That allows Sandy with his double number 8. And that gives the go-ahead run on second base. Still 1 out.
And Richie Sexton coming up. Well, Paul has seen a lot of balls bang off the walls here in Jacobs Field. Yeah, so even though he was an infielder,
that's true.
He knows the.
But still, until you get out there in game situation and play that, you know, that live, that's a good play.
Runners at 2nd and 3rd, 1 out. Sexton was a Devil Ray killer last year. He takes outside ball 1.
And here you don't really have to do much.
No, they're going to give you a
round balls up the middle. You got McGriff even at the bag. Herbert's maybe a step or 2 back behind 3rd base.
But at 2nd, and short. They'll give you a run. The Indians have scored 4, and they have runners at second and third. 1 out. The Indians now with 14 hits. Strike. Good fastball in the outside corner. The Indians with 2 home runs in this inning. The 3-run home run by Travis Fryman, followed by Cordero's solo blast. Justice was hit by a pitch, and Alomar doubled him to third. Sexton tied up inside. Strike 2.
He's got that nasty pitch right there. I don't know if it's a split finger fastball, a forkball, or whatever. We'll watch it. After going a good fastball away, that son just drops down and in and really tied Richie Sexton up. I wouldn't be surprised to see him come back in there with that pitch.
Kenny Lofton is on deck. The Indians have come all the way back to trail by 1. Sexton went way outside that time, tried to make him chase, and he didn't. It's 2-2.
Well, and he said now they used Aldred to face David Justice. There is not another left-hander in that pen.
Leads of 9-1 and 10-2 are just about gone for the Devil Rays as Sexton steps out as Nasir steps off. And Richie was hot against the Devil Rays last year, but he did not face Nasir. Justice at third, Alomar at second. 2-2 pitch. Rolled foul right up the end of the bat. And the catcher, John Flaherty, is going to go out and have a quick word. He will take the new baseball to his pitcher. The 4th pitcher used by the Devil Rays tonight, Bobby Witt, went 5 1/3, gave up 6 runs, including 2 homers. Quite credited with 1 inning of pitching. He gives up 4 hits, 5 runs. Aldred hit the only batter he faced. And now Nasir. What a game this has been tonight.
Yeah, this is an ugly game as far as the Indians go for the first 5 innings, that's for sure.
Struck him out. Sexton down on strikes for the 2nd time tonight. Richie is 0 for 3. And let's see what they decide to do as Rothschild is going to go back to the mound. I don't think they have another lefty out there.
Well, watch, the bottom just drops out. Would have been ball 3, but that's a tough pitch to lay off with 2 strikes. You see that ball had plenty of plate. The bottom drops out. Well, I'll tell you, he's got to go out, and if they don't have that left-hander out there, which at least it's not in their notes, he's talking how the approach to Kenny Lofton. Now, remember, you've got basically the rookie Enrique Wilson to follow Kenny Lofton. He's going to say, look, you either make him hit your pitch or you've got first base open. Don't give in and give him a pitch that he can handle.
Well, Kenny becomes the 17th Indian to bat in the last 2 innings. The 9th here in the 7th. The Indians with 4 in the 6th, 4 more in the 7th. Threatening to tie it up. Herbert Perry cheats in at third. He's in on the grass, about 5 steps in front of the bag.
I'll tell you, with that pitch that he struck Sexton out with, he's tough on left-handers this year. Just 4 for 25. That comes out to a 160 batting average. So that pitch has been very effective.
Lofton looks at it at the knees for a strike. It's 1-1.
That's a ball you almost have to beat into the ground, John, when you're swinging from the left side.
Well, if he's that good against lefties, doesn't really hurt you if you don't have another lefty out there. Although most managers would like to have 2.
Yeah.
Lofton, fly ball down the line, long run for Sorrento. It's going to work its way into the first row. 1-2 the count.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the Cleveland Indians and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. The accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cleveland Indians and Fox Sports Net, Ohio.
The battle continues. Lofton against Nasir. Just stayed alive by fighting that pitch off. It's still 1-2.
When you get caught looking for that splitter there, then he buzzes that fastball in, and that was the pitch right there that Kenny was able to fight off.
Lofton is 1 for 3.
Tell you what, though, he's basically come right at him. He hasn't messed around, has he? I thought he'd be a little more careful.
Missed inside. Looks like it might have been a slider that time. 2-2. Kenny is 0 for 3 against Messier. And the runner at second, they go through a series of signs. 2-2 pitch. Again, just staying alive.
Yes, that's right. Just able to keep yourself in that batter's box for one more pitch. That was a ball inside again. He started his swing. Watch this. And he realized he's not going to do anything with it, so he's able to just check it off, get to the seat, and he still has another pitch left in him.
Still 2-2. What a battle this has been tonight. Lofton grounds it to first. McGriff is there. The Indians strand 2.
Oh, the catcher's interference, I think.
Catcher's interference has been called.
Yeah, that's
so
right.
So the bases loaded.
You know, that bat did look like it slowed down a little bit on Kenny.
All right. The Indians get a break.
That's going to be catcher's interference. That'll go as an error.
Error on the catcher.
On the catcher. Kenny does he's awarded first base.
But you can't advance. You
cannot advance, correct.
So the bases will be loaded.
Watch his bat catch the glove as he's go back inside. Just caught the backside of it. Right there as he's getting ready to close it. And Kenny never left the batter's box. He sort of pointed and said, hey, I hit his glove. Catcher's interference to keep this inning going.
Well, let's see if Enrique Wilson can deliver. He is 2 for 4. He's doubled, he's singled, he scored a run. Fouls it off. And he has never faced Messier.
Well, he started this inning with a single to come around and score.
That's right, he got it going. He and Ramirez aboard for the 3-run homer by Fryman, followed by the Cordero home run. Now the Indians have loaded the bases with 2 outs. 1 ball, 1 strike. The Indians alert for anything here. Ball in the dirt, maybe.
Yeah, that's right. One of those. Absolutely right. He does not have a wild pitch yet this year.
Wilson fouls it off, so it's 1-2. Enrique battling, playing at shortstop again tonight for the injured Omar Vizquel. Jim Thome not in the lineup tonight, but the Indians still with 14 hits, 4 homers, 10 runs scored. What has hurt has been the 3 errors. Wilson hits it to second. It's picked there, scrambling the throw, throws it away. 1 run is in. Here comes another run. The Indians take the lead.
Oh my! All 3 runs score. Now wait, they're going to say 1 base. Now there's going to be a little conference. They may make Kenny go back to third base. They're having a conference right now on the throw-in. It all depends on where Kenny was on the field. If he was at second base or on it, it should be, it's a 1-1, I believe. But when he didn't pick this ball cleanly, Kenny's got to come back.
Well, then he hurried.
Yes, he rushed, he panicked on the ball, did Lamb. David Lamb, you see, he still had time. But then he panics and tries to turn and throw into the dugout. That gives him 2 runs. The Indians with a 12-11 lead. Unbelievable. That'll be an error. That's the 2nd error in a row on the Devil Rays. And you see, Newman's just going to say, you score, you keep going, make the umpires bring you back out of the dugout.
Well, the Indians get 2. And they have taken a 12-11 lead.
What a hump.
The Indians have scored 6 runs in this inning.
So they were saying he was going to second base, and on the overthrow into the dugout, he gets third base. So that's where Kenny Lofton is put back out there. Enrique will go to second on the wild throw, but this inning's still alive.
Well, they gave him an infield hit then, too, obviously, right?
I didn't even hear it.
Well, we'll sort that all out.
I know it. They got the runs they needed. That's all I know.
The Indians have sent 10 to the plate. They have scored 6 times in this inning. Alomar spins away from ball 1, so it's runners at second and third.
Okay.
It'll be an infield hit for Enrique Wilson.
And an RBI, John.
He'll get an RBI, and he goes to second on the air by the second baseman. So that defense, which has been so soft tonight,
Well, how freaky, how many times do you see catcher's interference that'll continue an inning? I mean, you look at him for that play there, but still, the catcher's interference kept that inning going. They thought they were out of the inning.
This has been an amazing turnaround.
Is there a full moon out there?
Oh, no. I tell you. And also, that gets the starting pitchers out of this thing, because Wagner's now the pitcher of record for the Indians, and the pitcher of record is going to be Messier as he loads the bases. The David Justice run is charged to Aldred, who walked him. But Sandy Alomar, who doubled off the wall and left, scored the go-ahead run, and that run is charged to Messier. So Messier and Wagner, the way I figured, are the pitchers of record in this
You read your card better than I am. This has been a very strange game, and then we say that the Tampa Bay bullpen has done a terrific job to this point. Tonight they have not.
Well, the Indians now will get Reed up and throwing in the bullpen. I believe that Ossenmacher.
Reed has been throwing. He's loose. I think they sit Belushi down.
No, okay, that's Reed now. Maybe Ossenmacher up and throwing too. Outside for a ball. Ramirez bats for the second time in the inning. He is the 12th to bat. Ossenmacher beginning to loosen as well.
I look up at that scoreboard and I look at the Tampa Bay side, and it was early. 1-3-5, 1-1, and then the Indians is 1-1, 4-6.
Yep. Outside. I tell you, Messier's feeling the heat now.
And of course, it was his defense that hurt him. Well, you can say the same thing on our side.
That's exactly right.
You look at it, and that 5-run fourth inning they had should only have, what, 2 in that inning, or 1 in that inning, really?
Yes, 1. The other 4 were unearned. Swing and a miss. And he had deep thoughts on his mind that time. 2-1. Ramirez is 3 for 4. He's driven in a run. He has scored twice. And he's 2 for 4 against Jim Messier. Batting with the bases full in the bottom of the 7th inning.
John, the way this game is going, we still got a lot of game left. We're only in the bottom half of the 7th.
I know it. I know it. The Indians trail 9-1 and 10-2. They lead 11-12. Mike Hargrove had an uninvited visitor in his dugout earlier in the game. Foul back. Full count. So we'll have people running all over the place.
See, Manny shaking his head. He might have helped him out going upstairs in there. Messier trying to pound him hard and in. I think Manny helped him out. But now, yeah, you all have everything going here. This is loaded. Full count, 2 outs.
23 runs for these two teams. The Indians have scored 6, hit 2 home runs in this inning. Tampa Bay has helped out with 2 errors. Runners go, foul ball. The 23 runs is not a record for 2 teams at Jacobs Field. 24 has been done twice. The Indians are 4 for 9 with runners in scoring position tonight. Tampa Bay is 7 of 19. It's been that kind of an evening at Jacobs Field. Fouled back again. Let's see. Enrique Wilson with 3 hits in the ball game tonight.
2 in this inning.
That's right. He singled to start the inning and got an infield hit, drove in a run to keep the inning going. That was after catcher's interference allowed Lofton to reach. 3-2 on Ramirez. Ball 4. 13-11. Lofton scores. Ramirez will get credit for his 2nd RBI of the night. Messier walks his 2nd man in a row. He has given up a double and struck out a batter. Another one reached on catcher's interference, then a base hit and 2 walks. And the Indians lead it 13-11. Here is Fryman.
Here's the guy that got him back into the ball game in this inning.
A 3-run home run that woke things up, brought the Indians right back to within 2. Cordero followed with his home run to make it a 1-run ball game, and the Indians have kept on scoring. 7 runs for the Tribe in the 7th inning. Ground ball to shortstop. This should end it. There's the flip. The inning is over, but the Indians get 7 and take the lead. The big bombs flying tonight. The Indians going deep and going on top.
Max Lincoln Mercury in Brunswick and Mayfield invite you to discover the all-new 4-door Mercury Villager. And Mullinax can put you in one for just $2.99 a month. Your 7-passenger Villager comes with automatic, air, power windows and locks, cruise control, stereo with cassette, and more for just $2.99 a month on a 3-year lease. And that's with less than $700 down. And if you're in the market for luxury, how about this new Grand Marquis loaded with power equipment for just $20,500? Save time and money. Shop either convenient Mullinax Lincoln Mercury location.
People who go to Tri-C succeed. Within 2 years of taking classes, 85% have better jobs or are making more money. 38% got promoted. 33% started new careers. That's why Tri-C career-oriented students agree. Cuyahoga Community College is where futures begin. Join the 10,000 people from over 200 communities registering now at Tri-C, because it's summer. Register today.
Starting with David Justice to right field. 6th inning. David again with 2 on to left field. 7th inning, 2 on. Travis Fryman. Next batter, Will Cordero. And by the time the inning was over, the Indians had a 13-11 lead. And the new pitcher, the final 2-run charge to Messier. Gallard comes on. Eddie Gallard will be the pitcher.
He made his major league debut Wednesday night against Kansas City. Just pitched to 1 batter. He's only pitched a 1/3 of an inning.
Cordero will lead it off. Then David Justice. And home runs coming from the 3 guys who bat 5, 6, and 7 in this order. Fryman, Cordero, and Justice with 2. Foul back. Count 1 ball, 1 strike. We've seen a little bit of everything. The catcher's interference with 2 outs that kept the inning alive. Enrique Wilson an infield hit followed by a throwing error. Then 2 more walks. One of them to Ramirez forcing in a run. Let's take a look at our new Dodge home run leaders. It's McGriff at the head of the class right now with 11. Including the 2-run blast here tonight. Ground ball to second base. And it's bobbled again. David Lamb commits his 2nd error of the night.
Boy, there, you know, it's just like, it's almost like, hey, I don't want the ball hit to me.
I know what you're talking about.
Once he gets it, it seems like he rushed there and just panicked and did not get the ball out of the glove. Took a little hop, boom, stay here. So now both teams with 3 errors tonight. Tampa Bay coming into this ball game leading the American League in fielding percentage. They had just 13 coming into it. The Indians with their 3 gives them 21. And that will make you talk to yourself.
Absolutely. And now they are saying that one of the runs is unearned because of catcher's interference. So it's 1 earned, 1 unearned for Messier. Be that as it may, he is the pitcher of record for the Devil Rays. Justice takes ball 2. David has walked, homered, and been hit by a pitch. He has scored 3 runs tonight. The Indians scored 11 runs in the 6th and 7th inning. By the way, if you look at it another way, 3 errors for the game, but that Tampa Bay's also made 3 errors in the last 6 batters. Gallard wants a new ball. Cordero at first. Justice at the plate. Sandy Alomar is on deck. Two teams have combined to equal a stadium record with 24 runs scored, and the count goes to 2 and 1. No, it should be 3.
Yeah, you were right.
That's right. I just looked up at the wrong time there. I don't know about your scorecard. Mine's pretty much a mess.
Mine's a little heavy.
David Justice gets a base hit, his 3rd of the night. Cordero stops at second. The Indians picking up their 16th hit in this ball game. 3 for him, 3 for Enrique Wilson tonight.
You remember the last couple of nights, the line drives they were hitting, and Seattle was catching these balls. Well, tonight they're finding holes. David Justice, that bat starting to warm up. That's his 3rd hit this evening.
Well, we talked about the Tampa Bay bullpen, which was 2nd best in the American League, but tonight 6 earned runs in an inning and 2/3. The batter is Alomar, doubled and scored in that 7-run 7th inning. Lines it to center field, base hit. Here comes Cordero. He will score on the play. And falling down, rounding second and just barely getting back is David Justice. He fell flat as he rounded the bag, was going to go to 3rd. He does scramble back. Sandy Alomar gets his 2nd straight hit, his 15th run batted in on the year.
This one here was like a wedge shot off the bat of Sandy Alomar, off the end. Watch this thing check up in the outfield. It goes to the left. See you later. That thing checks up. That allows Cordero to come around to score, but you're right. David was able to get back. He tripped around second base, fell down, got up and went back into the base. So there's a new record for runs in Jacobs Field.
25 for the two teams. The Indians with 17 hits. The batter is Richie Sexson. He has not joined this little party tonight offensively. 2 strikeouts, a ground out, and a base on ball. 0 for 3.
And the Indians tonight tie their season high in runs with 14.
Sexson. He's a little out of kilter right now.
Yes, he is.
He definitely helped out Gallard there. His average has slipped to 220. 2 men on, a run in. Sexton pops a foul. He's down in the count, no balls, 2 strikes.
They've continued to pound Richie inside tonight.
Well, most likely he'll have a breather tomorrow to think about it.
Oh, yeah, there's no doubt, because I guarantee Jim told me we'll be penciled in the number 5 spot. You can bet on it.
Indians doing this offensive damage without Tomey tonight. Mike Jackson, I believe, is up in the bullpen for the Indians, way outside for ball 1. It's been Witt, White, Aldred, Messier, and Gallard for Tampa Bay. The Indians have used Gooden, Wagner, Reed in the 8th. Right now it's a 3-run difference. There is Mike Jackson, who pitched an inning last night. Fly ball left field. Sorrento is there. Richie got that one off the end of the bat. And Paul will put away the first out. So Sexton 0 for 4. We go back to the top of the order. Kenny Lawson. He'll bat for the 6th time tonight. Lawson reached on catcher's interference in the 7th and scored 1 of the 7 runs. In fact, he scored the 7th and final run in that inning, did he not?
Yes, he did.
Okay.
You see, when you look at your card and they've sent so many hitters, you got to flip it over to the other inning.
It gets a little confusing. McKinney has scored twice tonight. Officially 1 for 3. Had a base hit back in the 1st inning, which seems like another game. 1 strike pitch is slapped foul, so it's 0 and 2. Remember that other game? Tampa Bay was ahead 10-2. In this game, they're behind 14-11.
30 hits in this ball game between the two teams.
Offense spins out of the way. This game is now 3 hours and 36 minutes old, and we're not done yet. It's the bottom of the 8th with 1 out. A run in and 2 on. Lofton down swinging. Galler gets his first strikeout and gets the second out of the inning.
A slider. Kenny swings over the top. He was a little upset, and I think he thought that was the 3rd out, but it's only 2.
Well, here comes Enrique Wilson, who's had a 3-hit ball game tonight. It's the 5th time that he's had 3 hits in a game to match his career high. Well, one more here would be a new career high for him. He has an RBI. He has scored a run, 2 singles and a double. Manny Ramirez also with 3 hits in the ball game. Wilson takes ball 2. 2-0. Alomar has 2 hits. David Justice has 3. Cordero has 2. Fryman a 3-run homer. Ramirez 3 hits. Roberto Alomar has 2 hits. Fouled back. Enrique Wilson, we mentioned, with 3 hits. Kenny has a hit. The only player without a hit in the lineup is Sexton. And let's see, everybody has scored a run in this lineup except Sexton, right?
Yes, that's what it looks like on my card, too.
Are you sure? Here's the 2-1 pitch. 3-1. Roberto Alomar to follow. The Indians have also received 4 walks. 1 hit batsman tonight. That was Justice. Two on with 2 outs. Now there's going to be 3 on with 2 outs. Wilson on base for the 4th time tonight, and he'll give Roberto Alomar a chance to add to this 3-run Indians lead. The way this game's gone, Rick, you'll take every run you can get. Strike call. Robbie has a single, a triple, a run scored. He's also struck out, walked, and grounded out. Does have an RBI tonight. Fly ball, right field. Back to the warning track as Martinez at the wall. The ball is gone. It's a grand slam home run. Unbelievable.
The 5th home run for the Indians is tonight. That's their first grand slam in 1999. And Robbie Alomar with his 3rd hit. Now this puts this game possibly out of reach. 18-11. The Indians. Wow. He got a pitch on the inside part of the plate. That was a fastball, and Robbie pulls the hands through and hits a grand slam.
For Robbie, his 5th. And just like that, he has a 5 RBI ball game. Oh, cow. Roberto Alomar with a grand slam home run. Just 1 away from his best. It is his 4th career grand slam. Hits, 18 runs. Now this is one we'll remember for a while.
Yeah. And you know, Tampa Bay was cruising. It is really strange. Bobby Witt, you know, we had mentioned at the start of this ball game had lost 12 consecutive to the Indians. He had a nice big lead. he had a chance to win this ball game. Tampa was going for their first win in this ballpark after going 0-5 here last year. And it looked that way, but the last 3 innings, the Indians have put 4 on the board in the 6th, 7 in the 7th, 5 in the 8th.
Well, it's a record 18 runs, the most the Indians have ever scored in a game at Jacobs Field. Ramirez taps it foul. Manny officially tonight is, let's see, 3 for 4 with 2 runs batted in. David Justice tonight has driven in 4. Fryman 3. Alomar 5. And on and on. You go back to the top of the 6th inning. This one's going to be in the seats down the right side when it was 10-2.
And it was an ugly game at that point as far as the Indians go. But you look at it now and you don't even think about the errors that they made early into this ball game because of the offense.
And on top of those numbers, as we pointed out, the Indians with a team record 18 runs tonight. The other thing that's going to happen here, if it stays and the Indians win this game, is that they will match the largest deficit to be overcome at Jacobs Field. And strangely enough, Paul Sorrento has been in the house for both. And he finished off that other 8-run comeback.
Well, we said early in this ball game, it seemed like the Indians defensively spent an awful lot of time out on the field. Well, in the last 3 innings, they've evened it out.
Yeah, certainly time of possession has evened up from the 6th inning on. And you keep in mind the Indians now, as he rolls the foul, have scored 16 runs in the last 3 innings.
Yeah. Now, the Tampa Bay bullpen today, 2 1/3 innings, giving up 9 hits, 12 runs, 11 of them earned. And
I have a feeling that will knock them down the rankings a little bit.
Yeah, you'll have to check it out tomorrow.
Might have to refigure their bullpen ERA because it's going to go up a bunch. 3-2 on Ramirez. Ball 4. Not over yet. And I think every run in this inning is going to be unearned.
Well, it all started with the error at second base.
All runs unearned in this inning, correct? Huh? My crack staff's letting me down back here. Fryman a base hit to left field. Hit number 19 for the Indians. You know, the inning started with an error. It should have been 1 out, then 2 hits, and the strikeout of Lawson, then a walk. Think here. No, there was the fly out by Sexton. That should have been the 2nd out. Lawson should have been the 3rd out. So I think all 5 runs are going to be unearned. Wow.
The Indians have sent 30 hitters to the plate since the 6th inning.
Unbelievable.
I'm sitting there trying to count it up. I need the
you have to have a calculator. 19 hits. The teams have combined for 37 hits tonight.
Well, and that'll probably shut down Mike Jackson, wouldn't you think, on the bullpen?
So.
Yeah. Now I think DeLucia is back up and throwing.
The Indians went from 8 runs down to 7 runs up. The batter is Cordero. Remember, Cordero started this inning when he reached on an error. So the Indians have batted around again. Would you say 30 batters in 3 innings?
Yes.
Right, 8 to 13 and now 9.
There you go.
Oh, my. Here comes Ramirez. He will score 19-11. 20 hits for the Indians. Cordero with his 2nd run batted in. He has 3 hits in the ball game.
Well, good hitting count to be in. He gets a fastball out over the plate and just liner over the head of David Lamb at second base. Ramirez scores easily, and this inning continues.
And it's not going to continue any longer for Gallard. Manager Larry Rothschild will make about his 25th trip to the mound since the 6th inning. We'll be back with more Indians baseball here on Fox Sports Net, Ohio.
Today you will play many roles. Some you will choose. Some will be chosen for you. At AirTouch, we understand. That's why we're introducing the AirTouch Promise. A 6-point commitment to help you do more of what you want to do while doing what you need to do. So if you want to live today on your terms, now you can.
There has not been a malfunction with our scoreboard. Those numbers are all accurate. 19-11. Brian Ricard comes on to pitch for the Devil Rays. Just 2/3 of an inning for Gallard. He is charged with 6 runs. And the inning continues. The Indians have runners at first and second as he comes on for the 5th time.
Hell, you just look at the numbers. We get it's just you still got to shake your head. The way this game is turned around.
Unbelievable. You go from 8 runs down to 8 runs up. The Indians hit 5 home runs tonight. And it was all Tampa Bay until the 6th inning.
This may be the first, one of the times where you see the fewest zeros on the board that you'll ever see at a baseball game.
Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 5 half innings in which somebody didn't score. And you ask for crooked numbers? You
Boy, I'll say big crooked numbers.
1-1-4-7-6. Justice, 2 homers, a single, 4 runs batted in. He has scored 4 runs tonight, and he pulls the foul. 1 ball, 1 strike. Just when you thought it was safe to come out following the Alomar grand slam, a walk, a couple more hits, and another run in.
It may be safe to say that both these teams tomorrow will cancel batting practice because they did it tonight.
38 hits between the 2 teams. Justice, base hit right field. Here comes the runner, Fryman around third. Here comes the throw to the plate, way offline. Backed up by Ricard. The Indians get their 20th run of the night. Justice with 5 runs batted in.
Yeah, both he and Robbie with 5.
David has 4 hits. Fryman scores the 7th run of the inning. And all these runs continue to be charged to Gallard. I would guess that's going to have to be a base hit. I don't know if they're going to charge an error or not.
No,
because he probably would have gone second on the throw anyway.
So he was continuing to run. They were both going because Cordero was going to third, so he goes to second on the throw.
Well, the Indians have scored 2 touchdowns in the last 2 innings. Strike 1 to Alomar. Sandy with 2 hits and 5 at bats and an RBI tonight. His average stays up there at 347. 1-1.
And just think who's not in the house to see this one. Tommy.
Tom Hamilton at home with the
Tommy
flu
was
tonight.
home. Sick with the flu.
I don't know. He might be happy.
I'm sure he could save his voice.
Swing and a miss. 1-2. And by the time we're done, this is going to be a full 4 hours of baseball here tonight.
And well worth it because there's still a lot of people in the seats.
Well, it was worth staying for, especially for the Indians. Flips it foul. The Indians have matched their record for most runs, 20. They did it in 91. Remember how they used to beat up on the Oakland A's?
That's where it came in Oakland. And why does 91 pop up? Because it did earlier today.